Hey there, AJ.
Hi,
Hey,
AJ.
what's going on?
AJ.
Let me text Polcaster.
He just came on, Howard.
Okay, good. We have a quorum.
Are we live?
Yes, we are. We're live on YouTube, yes.
All right, Howard, should we go ahead and get the meeting started? Was the applicant planning on joining us or?
Yeah, the applicant is said he was going to join us.
Okay, great.
If not, we just start. We could go over the minutes.
Yeah, let's at least start doing that. So with the time being 6:33 p.m., we'll call the meeting to order. Public notice was given that the Planning Commission was going to be holding a meeting remotely this evening on Thursday, April 8th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. as permitted by Executive Order 2020-07, which was signed by Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker on Monday, March 16, 2020, in response to COVID-19 pandemic. Members that were of the public that were wishing to participate in this meeting remotely were able to do so by downloading the Zoom app or calling into the number. First order of business is roll call. Chair Patoska is here.
Eric Polcaster here.
Jay Weir here.
Toni Ebeling here.
There being 4 members present, we have a quorum. Next order of business is public comment. Howard, was there any public comment submitted on this application?
No public comments were submitted.
Okay, great. Next order of business is approval of the plan minutes for the meeting held on March 4th, 2020. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion.
I'll
Second.
second.
Second. Any changes, corrections, or anything like that? All right, great. All in favor? I'm sorry. I think we have to do a roll call for everything. Chair Patoska approves. Makes a motion. Or I'm sorry. Chair Patoska approves the minutes. Commissioner Weir, do you approve?
I do. I
Commissioner Polcaster approve.
Yes.
Commissioner Ebeling approve.
Yes.
The minutes for March 4th, 2020 are approved.
Okay,
Next order of business is per the zoning ordinance, the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board of Appeals review an applicant's request for a special use to allow for an automobile repair shop in Commercial District C1. The applicant would like to create a new business called CMR Auto Services LLC that deals specifically with repairing automobiles in a commercial nature. Howard, can you provide the staff report on this application?
sure. So the applicant, his name is Miguel Castillo, and he wants to reestablish an auto repair facility at 2404-2410 Oak Street. This used to be the old Ace Auto Care facility. Since we have this ordinance from 1999, it's actually ordinance 99-256, which goes into details whenever there's a change of owner or a person leasing the property from another property business owner, then this person would have to go through a special use permit. So what originally happened was this applicant submitted a business license application with the building department earlier last year, well, towards the end of last year, earlier this year, and I had to deny it because there was not a special use that he applied for. So he's doing this special use now. I can go into greater details on my special use analysis and talk about what the applicant wants to do. So again, Miguel Castillo, he's the applicant. The property owner, his name is Donald Stoffel. What Miguel wants to do, he wants to lease this property, and he wants to inhabit the 5 workstations that are inside of it. And the building footprint is 50 feet by 80 feet, plus or minus 4,000 square feet, right? as part of this application, he also, um, the business hours for CMR Auto Services LLC is going to be from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. He's also creating a seating area for customers to wait if they want to wait for their cars to be repaired. He also mentions, Mr. Castillo, that he wants to use the cleaned out graveled parking lot that's right next to the building that faces Western Avenue, goes all the way towards the alley, which is also owned by Donald Stoffel. He wants to use that as a staging area to park vehicles for cars that are being repaired or cars that are being parked there so people can pick them up later in the day. He says at most 2 days is where the vehicles will be parked in that parking lot. But he says in his original application that he would like to pave that area with new asphalt within 3 years after he opens his shop. So again, that's what the applicant wants to do. I'll go over some of the concerns that I have as staff. So the first one is the applicant wants to park vehicles on a gravel lot. As everyone here is aware, we do not allow for that, especially if it's a commercial use for a commercial lot. It has to be paved either with asphalt or concrete. So I even cited the section, chapter 150-101, construction specifications. I'll either read it here. All off-street parking areas, loading facilities, driveways required by the city shall be constructed with concrete or asphalt surfaces. And then I also quoted section 150-101E, number 1, no buildings, or premises shall be used or occupied unless the parking areas, loading facilities, and driveways serving them are improved. No certificate of occupancy shall be issued until those areas are constructed. So basically what I did here was I quoted the 2 sections from the building code that says, hey, you have to pave that area. And second, in order to get a certificate of occupancy, you have to have the parking lot paved. So that kind of like negates the 3 years that he wants to do in the future. So as part of my staff report, which was shared with Miguel Castillo, what I explained was there's two options you could do here. A compromise would be to build at least half of the parking lot in conjunction with the business license application. So at least he could start paving and he could start parking some of the vehicles there. And then the planning and zoning will decide in a timely manner when the other half of the parking lot should be paved. Now, keep in mind, to pave a parking lot, you also have to comply with engineering and building requirements, which requires landscaping, lighting, drainage, what have you. So again, like in my staff report, I mentioned I'll be more than happy to convey that. The second option would be if he doesn't have the money or the intention to do it anytime soon, then he cannot park any vehicles on that gravel lot. And it's going to be enforced upon by the building department under property maintenance. So I provided photos at the end of the staff report that kind of shows you when I was looking at the older sign, the obsolete sign, you can see how the cars were parked on the gravel lot. And then, like I mentioned in the staff report, Western Avenue is our main street, so we shouldn't be having cars parked willy-nilly wherever they are on the parking lot. So I already had this very challenging conversation with both the property owner, Donald Stoffel, and the business owner, Miguel Castillo. So they are aware of the parking issue that's there. The second one is the dumpster, right? The applicant will need to provide for screening for the existing trash dumpster. Currently, the dumpster is located on the property away from the alleyway, and it's open or it can be viewed from the residential property right behind it. So then again, I quoted section 163.11, screening of trash dumpsters and bins, which says trash containers, dumpsters, compactors, recycling bins associated with multi-unit residential or non-residential uses, which would be this one, must be screened from the public on all sides with a solid fence constructed if with cedar, redwood, masonry, or similar building materials reflecting the overall building site. And this also goes into details that the dumpster should be at least 20 feet from the side property line or rear. Due to this property, I'm willing to work with him to get it away from the property line, but it has to be screened. Third is the existing guardrail, the existing traffic guardrail, which needs to be repaired. I know it's probably not his property, but the guardrail is located between the subject property that your board is reviewing, your commission, and the property owner next to it, which is adjacent to it. What I quote here and what I've contacted him about is it needs to be some kind of discussion between the existing property owner or business owner and the property owner and try to resolve this guardrail. Either remove it, repair it, or replace it. But this is a private matter that needs to be resolved as quickly as possible. And I'm willing to make this as a condition prior to a C certificate of occupancy being issued, but that has to be resolved. And then the fourth one deals with an obsolete sign. So per the sign section, section 1.01.22, obsolete sign, any sign whether existing on or erected after the effective date of this ordinance, which identifies a business no longer being conducted or a product no longer being sold in or from, must be taken down and removed by the owner or agent of the building, structure, or premises on which the sign is found. This sign goes back to multi-state transmission, which no longer in business since 2017. I confirmed it with looking at Google Maps going backward in time. The last time there was a sign was 2009 that multi-state transmission was using. Today, there is no sign face. The sign is exposed to the elements. You just see the fluorescent tubes. So that sign is not allowed to be there because it's considered a wall sign, which is protruding outward over the right-of-way, the sidewalk on Western Avenue. And a wall sign has to front a public street. It's fronting the side lot, which is the vacant lot that the person wants to use to park vehicles. So, and also that building, which is also owned by Mr. Stoffel, does not have the business located in that building. That's the one with the State Farm agent. So you can't have a sign that's not even physically on the building. So those are the four conditions which I shared with two people. I shared it with Janet and Miguel. Janet was the facilitator and providing me the materials that you have in front of you. And Miguel was is the business owner. So again, I restate these four conditions under additional staff recommendations. So does anyone from the board, from the commission wants to ask questions?
Howard, just for clarity, who owns the gravel lot?
Donald Stoffel.
So,
It's the same property owner. So if you look at it, if you look on page 6 of the staff
Yeah.
report, you'll see it's the 3 pins, pin 032, 033, 034.
Yes.
It's all owned by the same owner. So basically it's 2 buildings plus that gravel lot.
so essentially, because I've seen in the past where that property was put for rent on its own. So what happens if the property owner decides that he no longer wants it to be in conjunction with the body shop?
Well, it's going to be complicated because if you look at the tax map that I provided here,
Yep.
the building that's in question, which is going to have the auto repair, which is the rectangular building going north to south on the plan, that incorporates the 2 pins. The other building that's the corner building that fronts Western and Oak, that's on 1 pin. So he can't sell it or subdivide because it's not even a merged lot without it. So that lot 032 either remains vacant or it's going to be used in conjunction with either buildings that's shown on the tax map.
So essentially, let's just say another business comes in, the State Farm building and they say, we want that lot due to additional traffic, essentially that could be sold to them.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
My conversation with the property owner, and this is going back and forth several times, late December of last year and early January of
Mhm.
this year, is he wants to retain it. It's in the property. It's been in the family for many years. So he wants to retain the 3 pins. He's just leasing it. And he thought this was just going to be an easy process. It was an auto repair. He had the person submit a business license application, and then it was denied by me for zoning because it didn't meet the ordinance from 1999.
Any concerns with, because the main exit of that gravel lot is the alleyway.
Right, it's the alleyway, yes. Like I explained with him, like I'm explaining with the commission here,
Mhm.
it's not a perfect situation, but it's a better situation to have an entrance, an oak, and an exit going through the alleyway. So there
Yeah.
needs to be some paved area there, even
Mhm.
just to provide for access. I explained it to the property owner that, eventually you should have access on Western Avenue. You're gonna have to go through IDOT to get a curb cut opening. That's gonna take maybe a year because they're not that fast. So that's the reason why I'm okay with allowing him to pave at least half of pin number 032 with an area to park vehicles. Um, but it's up to both the planning and zoning to make that determination. As as condition to approving the special use, you're gonna have to improve on the site.
Yep.
And that's one of the things I brought up because under the C1, technically, I don't have to really look at parking, but my concern is this. If he doesn't park on the gravel lot, he's gonna probably park on the street in front of the residential homes
Mhm.
or on the business side. So I rather have the cars, they're ready to be picked up by the customer to be at least on the property, but it has to be a paved area.
Are there going to be regulated hours for, I'm sorry if I missed this, but for vehicle pickup?
He says between 8 to 5. At most, he'll keep a vehicle on the gravel lot for 2 days. So if
Okay.
it's today's Monday, probably by Tuesday, Wednesday, by Thursday, I should be picking up the vehicle if I'm not there.
Mhm.
Right. What I'm trying to resolve here or is not to have multiple cars being parked there as a parking lot for selling vehicles down the road without
Yeah.
going through a proper process and having cars just parked there and they're maybe not going to be repaired anytime soon, then they're considered an not drivable or inoperable vehicle, which then under property maintenance could be enforced by the building department. So I'm trying to avoid that from happening.
And then the sign that's on the oak
Right.
side, like, just to make sure I'm clear, is that one considered obsolete?
Well, how you call it? Per the UTOD, it should be a nice wall sign. I'm
Mhm.
willing to work with the property owner to allow him to just change the face on the one on Oak Street, but the
Yep.
other one has to come down.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to be cooperative here. I'm trying to at least mitigate the parking pollution, parking sign or the signage pollution that's on the building.
Okay. Any other concerns from other commissioners?
No, I mean, these all sound like reasonable, recommendations and, kind of like a balance. What would we think is a reasonable time frame for them to have that other pin number 33 paved?
Well, my idea
And
is,
should we require like that they also do an application for a curb cut at the same time and have both of those tied together in some way?
not at the moment, because the way I see it is like this, the property owner is not interested in investing additional money on this property, and he's already voiced it to me. So it's gonna be the business owner that's gonna have to do this, and then I understand it's gonna be costly for him, so I'm willing to work with him, at least pave the area directly behind the building and maybe a little bit additional past the building. where he could at least stage 2 or 3 cars and the trash dumpster in a proper corralled area. But then he's gonna have to go for a building permit to pave the rest of the parking lot. And then if it's gonna be a full-fledged parking lot, then I'm gonna enforce, everything that's required. Landscaping, lighting. I'm also gonna ask for drainage now, even if he paves half of it, have at least a catch basin to capture the water on site. Besides, landscaping, lighting, fencing. Or the other option is not to allow for any cars to be parked there. In other
Yeah.
words, he'll have to build a driveway from the end of the rear door towards the alleyway, which is like a triangular parcel property, triangular area, so he could get the cars off. But he can't park any vehicles, and it will just be under enforcement.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather see parking in the 32, but I mean, the alley is not ideal, but
Right.
if it's between 8 and 5, and we're not talking people coming picking up at 10, 11 midnight.
Right. Yeah, the only concern that I have, I'm not happy about using an alleyway as the main exit, but for allowing for the existing building, which is in reasonably in good shape internally speaking, I'm willing to work with that and having at least a portion or the area where he's driving the vehicles off of the property onto the alleyway should be paid. And it's going to be tied with the certificate of occupancy.
Mhm.
So in other words, he won't get his CO if he doesn't do at least pave the area to the, let's say, satisfaction of the community development manager and the building official.
Yep.
I'll write this down.
Howard, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
When they pull out of the lot, say, into the alleyway,
Yes.
is it like big enough so it's not going to interfere with other people's garages or their property? Or
Well,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of the property 026, the pin that I'm reading. It has kind of like a semi-fenced area. So there is some seclusion. So the garage is actually facing the other side, or there's another alley right behind. So if the person is pulling out of that house, detached garage, it's not gonna crash into another vehicle that's coming out of here. But the alleyway is wide enough for maybe 2 vehicles if they're 2 small compact cars and they're passing side by side. But I see this alleyway more as a one way in or one way out, or another car would have to wait for the other vehicle to pass by.
Yeah. I'm concerned about like if there's a tow truck, like say a person's car gets broken down, is the person that lives right next door and that, next to the alley, are they going to be dealing with tow trucks,
Well,
all different times of the day? And I also, I find it very hard to find, like when a person comes to drop their vehicle off, the staging area, I have a strong feeling that it's going to be on that residential street.
Mhm.
I don't know how we can mitigate that. I mean, I know that there's issues even on Prairie, from El Ranchito, and they have a parking lot, and there's even additional parking behind, the t-shirt shop and stuff like that.
right, yeah.
But there's still issues on the residential street, and I'm just,
Well,
in addition, we have the Cook County Medical Facility, which
uh,
has their employees parking there as well. And
Here.
right. So according to his description, he says it very well that this is preventive maintenance. So we could put a condition that this cannot have a tow truck provided on site for this business. No tow trucks are allowed.
But what about like with insurance, like companies where it's not through him, but external dropping off vehicles because maybe he's like an approved body shop or something like that. I could see that potentially being something.
Yeah, he in his description, this description was pretty precise. It doesn't
Or
say
auto
anything.
repair, I should say.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, he's doing belts, filters, flaps, gaskets, miscellaneous items, window wipers, car batteries, filters, brake, fuel systems. It could be a condition that, this facility cannot allow for tow trucks to come on site to drop off cars. And if he does, it's going to be under enforcement. But at least if we have it as a condition, then if we need to go to adjudication court, we have it as it was approved under these conditions. If he's breaking one of the conditions, then there is a possibility that he'll be fined or this might be revoked.
Yeah, I mean, I could just see that neighbor, they're every night at 2:00 in the morning, there's the tow truck dropping a truck off and, you have the backup noise of the,
Right. The noise, the lights.
the lights, all that.
Okay. Then let's not allow for tow truck services there.
And then that's also the heavy traffic, more wear and tear on the alley. I'm not sure on what good, how good a shape the alley's in.
Yeah.
It's not great.
No, it's not great. It's true because I
Yeah,
walked
Eric,
it.
you're closest to you live closest to this business.
Yeah. Well, that alley gets a lot of use from Ranchito,
Yeah.
Okay.
and I could see that being a problem for that neighbor. I agree with you on the tow truck thing.
So as
And
as a
it
group,
took years to get that parking lot cleaned up.
right? And I want to
That
keep it
parking
like that.
lot looked, with cars left there for years.
Right.
And it does look a lot better now because it's cleaned up. But
Well, you could always go ahead and disapprove this application. Say, hey, we want something better. This is the reason why we have this ordinance from 1999. Technically, it's not on Western Avenue, so I could see it. It's off of Western, but the site is, not conducive because you have residential across the street and next to it, and then you have access through an alleyway, which is not proper.
I would, if we were to approve the parking lot in the back in pin number 32,
Right.
I would not recommend that it go further than the edge of the building.
Let's see.
The edge of the back portion of the building.
Let me just look at it on my staff report. So, all right. So, the building is rectangular, but it's kind of diagonal, the exit way. So
Mhm.
you're saying towards the
In the middle of the lot, basically, right?
right, how it
like
protrudes outward.
number three in the 24-36.
Yeah. You want the parking lot to stop there where the building line ends.
Correct.
Okay, I got it.
I would like to see additional screening,
Facing Western Avenue, right?
and that will allow additional screening right at the edge of that building. So
Right, and it's gonna be
I don't want it to turn into a storage lot. I don't want that
right,
entire
right.
lot to turn into a storage lot.
So for
That's the only way to limit those vehicles without a curb cut and screening in front of that. So it'll basically be an empty lot
Right.
with screening all the way towards the mid back half.
right. So the width of this lot or building is 50 feet. So it's 50 feet from the alleyway, property line to the edge of the building. So it's 50 by whatever it's the width, 25 or 30. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, so I mean, it will basically limit them to only maybe 6 vehicles in that back half.
Right.
If that, I don't even know,
Right, and I could propose that he provides slats through the fence, so there will be no lights coming out of the parking lot going towards the side neighbor, or vice versa, headlights going on to Western Avenue. Slats, okay. On fence. And the other portion has to remain vacant until they decide, or the property owner decides what he wants to do.
property owner or business owner wants to make that investment later on.
Right, because then it's gonna be a full-fledged parking
worried
lot.
about those phased approaches, because we've had those phased approaches with other businesses
Okay.
and they never follow through with those phases. It's not enforced.
Howard, do we want to be specific on the material used in paving? Because, asphalt has a tendency to cave and can build puddles and, cement would be a little bit more long-term.
Yeah, I would rather go with asphalt in the beginning because that's easy to tear up if they're gonna do let's say a concrete parking lot down the road.
Yeah.
They're
My
gonna still
concern
have to
is
follow,
vehicles being parked on the asphalt long period of,
right,
even, I don't know. I mean, I know you say it's only a couple days, but if it did turn into vehicles being parked there for a while, that's usually quite an issue with asphalt in the hotter months.
yeah, I didn't wanna quote the other section of the building code that goes into the specification of the materials and how it should be built, but it's gonna have to comply with the building code.
Mhm.
Asphalt or concrete.
Okay.
Does the commission want concrete more than asphalt?
I think that might be a little bit cost.
Right,
And that's a huge difference in cost. I agree. I would love to see, well, maybe not necessarily with an auto repair shop, some type of, that allows for better drainage and stuff like that. But
right, at least a catch basin in the middle of that paved area, so it tips and it goes towards the center and it drains into the ground.
do you know if people, and that just correct, that block is currently residential permit parking only, correct?
I take it is. I didn't look at the
I
signs
believe
very
it is
carefully.
residential permit parking only because of the Cook County Health Facility.
Because that was something new that came about.
So, I mean, we just need to be really good on enforcing that, because we could be adding additional, parking
Right,
issues to those residents on that block. Not only are they dealing with the Cook County Health parking, but now they're also dealing with, cars that are broken down or parked there and aren't moving because the inside of their shop is overflowed with vehicles. So
okay,
we'll just park it on the street temporary,
right. Right, and I explained to him that enforcement is gonna be done. We're not gonna allow for this to happen because there are other auto repair facilities on Western Avenue that, hopefully with the new administration that's coming in, both me and the building official will have more flexibility of enforcing unoperable vehicles that's been sitting on a parking lot for years, to start cleaning those vehicles too off-site. So it would be a targeted approach for, like Western Avenue. So I agree, I concur that we wanna make sure that this doesn't become like, let's say, a junkyard. I get it.
but I also understand that this building is built for this type of service and
Right.
business as well. And if we don't do something with it, it's gonna remain
Vacant.
vacant, and the only other businesses that might come there are auto repair shops. So
Right. So, I take it that the commission, besides the revision for number 1, which is the parking lot, I wrote down 50 by 25 or 30. I'll measure the width, so I'll give them a good number, square area, and fencing. And we don't allow for tow trucks there.
and the pickup and drop off of vehicles via tow truck,
Right.
outside of their business hours.
Mhm.
Outside of business hours, okay. I'm writing this down. Okay. I understand, because then it's gonna be a cat and mouse game.
Yep. It can
Okay.
literally be, it can be whenever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That, yep.
well, the thing is this, they're gonna have to revise their business license application every year, and if the first year they're not being compliant, then I'll request the building official and then the city clerk to revoke the license. That's it,
Okay.
because we need to start enforcing the stuff that we have on the code.
Mhm.
What if they change their business hours?
That's tough. I don't see them working later than that.
I mean, I don't see a problem with a car being dropped off at 7 o'clock, but we don't, it's not fair to the neighbors in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Ranchito's open till 9, I believe.
Right. And even with Ranchitos, I was able to have those signs, those advertising weekly signs on the side of the building
Yeah.
removed. So, yeah, I work with the business owners trying to also remove signage pollution.
Those were kind of,
No more than 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, just, I was curious too, with them closing at 5 o'clock, that was like, well, what about a person that gets off work at 5 o'clock? So I'm thinking they were probably going to adjust their hours anyway, so.
Maybe 6.
Yeah, so no, I mean, but I agree. I mean, I'm fine with Eric's suggestion of 7 o'clock.
Okay, 7 o'clock. I wrote it here.
And all other recommendations that you made in your staff report, I believe are reasonable. I think we should move forward with those recommendations unless the commissioners don't agree.
The 7 o'clock then, I would be open till like 9 o'clock, considering that Ranchito's open until 9 and there's traffic in that alley anyway.
I feel traffic though versus lights beeping of a tow truck though. It's a little bit more, here's my other question.
Okay.
Howard. I don't know if this is something we're able to do, but this is just just thinking outside the box. The person that lives in that home on the corner,
Right. The one
is there
next to
any
it.
way to like consult with them on like potentially any previous issues?
Yeah. What I can do is I could be the intermediary.
Howard, there were letters sent to the homeowners though, correct?
No, not in this situation.
Oh, not in this situation. They were just
No.
notice posted.
Right. In the zoning rewrite, I would like to have the 250-foot butter notification.
That would have been helpful in this situation.
I
Right,
just
well-
feel like any situation as big as this, just being a homeowner myself, it'd be nice. I would almost be like, if somebody came to me and say, hey, just a heads up, this is the type of business trying to come in. Did you have some previous situations with the previous building?
So
owner?
what I can do is I'll act as the intermediary between the business owner and the city.
Mhm.
I'll directly speak with the person there to see if there's any concerns about noise, lights, smells, I guess.
And who knows, maybe
Or-
there's something completely different than we're even thinking of that it's a
Right.
good call out.
And then the hours, right?
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
I think
I'll
if we cover our
consult.
bases there, it'll just help our decisions be that much easier.
Yeah.
I mean, is that fair? Do others?
Oh, I
agree?
agree. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, it would have been nice if we had, at least letters sent out to the residents within 250 feet, because then we could have possibly got more input from the public on this,
Mhm.
Yeah, there's always that trade-off, right? You'll be able to notice people, but then it'll become a cost factor for the applicants, and then they're gonna eventually complain to the city that the process is becoming more and more expensive. But yeah, in a situation like this, I think it would be prudent to reach out to the house right there next to it.
But no, I do agree, unless there's additional concerns from residents. I agree with the direction.
But the sign has been placed outside. It's been placed right there.
Yeah.
So it's been there for more than 15 days. So if the person had a concern, that person could have called me if they walked by it.
Mhm.
Okay, with those conditions, Howard, can you just run through all those conditions?
Sure, sure.
And the changes?
Sure, I'll run through the condition. So the first condition is to pave the rear area in conjunction with a certificate of occupancy. And the paved area should be at least 50 feet in width and then 25 or 30 feet in length. Right? Yeah, 50 feet in length, 25 or 30 feet in width, right? It's paved. The area there should be properly fenced with slats to not allow for vehicle lights to go either direction.
Mhm.
And then tow trucks, he's not allowed to have a tow truck on site to do these types of pickups or drop-offs. And if there is a tow truck that has to drop off a vehicle, it can't be dropped off after hours, the most at least 7 p.m. Right?
You were fine with the 7 PM, Eric? Did you want to match it up with 9 o'clock with El Ranchito?
I'm fine with whichever. Like, I'm fine with 9 o'clock. But if you guys think 7 is better, that's fine too.
I would go with 7 and see what he has to say.
Okay.
So that would be the first condition. Then the second one is to have the trash dumpster located on the subject property, and it has to be properly screened. So if the fencing on both sides are properly screened, then he won't have to build a trash dumpster corral. Then the third condition is the traffic guardrail, right? That has to be resolved. Either remove it, replace it, or repair it. And then the fourth one is the removing of that obsolete sign.
In regards to the dumpster is going to be inside of his fence.
Yeah, I'm gonna request it because part of the building code is to start getting these dumpsters out of the alleyway.
Yeah, that, how does, how do they get access to the dumpster then?
Well, there's gonna have to be someone that's gonna open up the fence and cart it out.
Because right now it's a locked fence.
Right, it's a locked fence, and the reason why the dumpster is inside because they don't want anyone playing with it. But I know the moment when he opens up his business, he's just gonna dump it outside. So right now it's inside because it's being protected.
Yeah.
I'm gonna request it as part of the CEO that this has to be on the property. And it's up to him or his coworkers or employees to resolve the hours when it gets carted off.
And he could apply for a grant for assistance as well.
Right, and I mentioned it to the property owner and the business owner. Of course, they want more money. They're not happy with the 7,500 limit. I did mention that we do have that, but first he has to have a special use and he has to have a building permit in process for that to work.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want someone hedging on something that's not going to be done.
All right,
Anything else?
I'm fine with all those recommendations and conditions,
Okay,
pending approval, and it all starts off with them, with the approval of the business license, because it's contingent on a lot of that, so.
right, and I'll be in direct contact with the building official because I have to sign off on the CEO at the village zoning, especially when there are requirements, conditions attached to it.
Do I have a motion to approve then?
Motion.
AJ?
By Commissioner Weir,
Second.
Go.
Who's
sorry.
second?
Did just lose Tony.
oh, we did.
All right, we'll just wait for a couple of minutes. Let's see.
I'm gonna step away for 1 second.
Yep.
I'm here, though.
Let's see.
Yeah, because we can't technically vote until she's back, right?
Right. Uh, I text her.
All right.
Here's Tony's phone number. Please, please call.
Can we call her, Howard?
Yeah, I just sent her a text and I can call her.
Okay.
Hi, Tony, this is Howard. We're trying to approve this special use for the auto repair. And we're gonna need to have you on Zoom to do it, or we can't have this, so we can't close this meeting off properly. So can you please call into Zoom? Thank you. So I left her a message, so she must be having some type of difficulty. I also texted her.
When do we want to give it till?
At least another 5-10 minutes.
Let's say at least 7:25.
Yeah. Because I like to at least close out the meeting.
Yeah, me too. We were so close. What happened?
I don't know. I texted her and I called her. Let me see if I can get her on the phone.
Howard, you might have to be the tie-breaking vote. Just kidding.
Well, we at least approved the minutes.
Yeah.
4-0.
Either way, it's good dialogue.
Yeah.
So at least we got the hard stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
Which I'll convey to zoning board momentarily after you guys are done.
Are they tonight?
Yeah, they're tonight also.
Hopefully I have a quorum.
Yeah, that's another hard group. We might have a combined planning and zoning with the new mayor.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how that works out.
Makes sense.
And the only thing we could do is implement the majority of quorum, where all 3 votes have to be in unison,
Mm-hmm.
which I've already discussed with the chair earlier today.
Come on, Toni. She disappears if you say her name.
He's back.
Hello?
Tony.
My phone died.
Oh, okay.
I had to hurry up and go get my charger.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
It's fine. So, Mark, Tony is back. Her phone was dying off on her.
Great. Thanks for joining us again.
Sorry about that. It's not my day today.
So did, Tony, were you on when there was a motion and a second to approve with the conditions and recommendations laid out in the staff report?
No, but I will agree with that.
Okay, so there was a motion by Commissioner Weir to approve, and it's seconded by Commissioner Polcaster. Roll call vote, Commissioner Patoska, aye. Commissioner Weir,
Aye.
Commissioner Polcaster, Commissioner Ebeling.
Aye.
The motion is, the application is approved.
Now it goes to ZBA.
Great, all right. And no other, next item is just adjournment, correct?
That's it. Yeah. We might have an application next meeting for a large sign, which the planning commission reviews under the UTOD. It's basically they're removing and replacing the pavilion sign on the 5-story building on York Street.
The Moraine Valley building?
No, VSUSA. What used to be the
Oh, the pavilion?
right, a pavilion, the tall, slender building. They're going to be removing the old sign and going to be replacing it with something similar.
Okay, is that gonna be the, well, never mind, I think I already know the occupancy in there.
Right,
Yeah,
it's going to be.
Center, isn't it?
What happened?
It's the new medical center.
Right, it's gonna. That's the one we agreed as the city to allow them to continue applying for a business license application for medical or dental. They're gonna have to do it for each person moving into that, but they at least want to put the sign. It's gonna be the same size as the existing one. They're just gonna call it differently, but under the UTOD, the Planning Commission review large signs.
Okay, sounds good. All right, with no other business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Polcaster, do I have a second?
Who
I'll
seconded? Okay,
Second by
Tony.
Commissioner Ebeling, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
all right.
great, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone. Much appreciated.
The next meeting, the next planning meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 6th, 2021 at 6:30 PM.
That is correct.
Public notice will be given for that meeting.
And hopefully we'll have Jason Berry back. He's busy with his planning and zoning tonight at Lamont.
All right, appreciate it, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a good
All right.
night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.